I'm just going to let you take that in. Let me just pan my camera around. I want you to have a look at this vehicle. Just have a look. Look at that cockpit. Look at this nice logo over here. And you start getting an idea why Porsches have always been the SI unit of success. It's not every day you wake up on a very rainy Tuesday morning and you end up driving a very nice Porsche. I'm seated in the 2014 Porsche Cayenne. We ordered this unit last month from the beautiful island city of Singapore, and after a very long voyage of almost 5,000 kilometers plus, we've managed to clear it. And before I hand it over to its new owner, because someone has already reserved it, I wanted to give you guys a quick tour of this vehicle, and I want you to
Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, reopen, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move.
There's this dam, I think it's called Courtesy or Titanic, somewhere in Ruiru, just opposite Daikyu. Has a very nice lake, and the road is actually pretty rough. And just driving even on this road, you start getting an idea of how much of a serious SUV this is. And you actually need to go again back to understand what happened to Porsche, because at one point Porsche was almost collapsing, and one of the things that they actually had to do in order to survive was going to a marriage with the Volkswagen Group. From this marriage with the Volkswagen Group that Porsche started coming up with products like the Cayenne, because for a very long time, for many years since Porsche was founded, Porsche has never manufactured an SUV. The Cayenne was the first ever. I think this was the first ever SUV from Porsche, and with the exception of the Cayenne, the only other thing they were making were tanks for the Nazis during World War II. So not a very proud history. But anyway, the Cayenne literally rescued Porsche, and as of 2021, it's one of their best-selling vehicles. The Porsche Cayenne shares 90% of its DNA with the Touareg. So if you buy this vehicle, you can expect number one, you don't expect very expensive maintenance, especially if you're buying an entry-level engine like the 3-liter diesel or the 3.6 petrol. These are the same engines you typically find on a lot of Volkswagens. So this is good news to anybody who's thinking of buying one of these cars. Another thing to also consider is the fact that these are very efficient vehicles. Like the 3-liter diesel is even going to give you 12 kilometers per liter, which is impressive considering the presence and the stature of a vehicle such as the Cayenne. And the service kit for servicing the Porsche Cayenne is the same exact service kit which you use on the Volkswagen Touareg. So very affordable SUV if you ask me. But anyway, the beauty about the whole Touareg influence on the Cayenne, fact still remains, it's a Porsche, and it has the Porsche logo. You get the Porsche lights, you get this nice Porsche interior, so still feels like a very expensive SUV. That's why I normally try to push a lot of clients away from the Volkswagen Touareg to the Cayenne, because Volkswagen Touareg is going to cost you 4.8 million at current rates for 2014, and a basic Porsche Cayenne, like whatever we are driving right now, is going to cost you 5.2. But if we were to attend a meeting, you pull up in your Touareg or another guy in a disco, and I pull up in this Porsche, guys are going to get the impression that I'm driving a more expensive car. But if you look at the maintenance figures, I'm spending the same exact amount of money as a guy who has a VW Touareg, and I'm spending way less money than a guy driving a Range Rover or a guy driving a Land Rover Discovery. And the beauty about it is I'm actually getting more respect than them. So that's something every buyer should actually consider when they want to upgrade to their next SUV. And are you getting value for your money? I'm not even going to mention a Prado in this conversation, because you know where that conversation is going to head. So you might be probably asking yourself, I'm driving on this bad road. How am I even going to handle, this sort of surface with this vehicle? But the funny thing is that people get this impression that that these cars are not strong, or these cars are too delicate. Again, nothing could be further from the truth. Porsche gives you two options. Again, like the Touareg, they'll tell you there's the option of air suspension, or there's the option of coil spring suspension. So depending on the market where you're buying this vehicle, you'll either be getting one of those. So for guys who prefer buying in the UK, chances are you might find one with air suspension. For us guys who prefer buying cars in the Orient, like Singapore, Japan, you're more likely to find the Cayenne in Singapore with the option of coil spring suspension. I personally prefer the coil spring suspension because it's more rugged and makes a lot of sense if you want to drive on these bad Kenyan roads. So this is the cockpit basically. You have the AC settings over here. You have the PCM, Porsche Communications Management System, PCMS. And then right over here at the bottom, you have a sport mode for smoking Subaru guys who try to challenge your dominance. And then there's this button over here which says off-road or on-road. So if you put it on off-road, it kind of locks the diffs for a better off-road experience so that you don't get stuck. And then there's the on-road setting which optimizes the suspension and the traction control system for tarmac driving. So very simple system generally. And I'm thinking this is not probably true four-wheel drive. This is probably all-wheel drive, something similar to Quattro. But one thing I can say, if you want better terrain response programs, like if you want to play with settings like unaweka, you do a setting for driving on gravel, another setting for driving on snow, another setting for driving on big rocks, just get a Land Rover. So the engine is 3000cc and diesel, runs on diesel with a turbo, which is like pretty much standard for a lot of these diesel engines. And the gearbox is the usual suspect. The 8-speed ZF gearbox, which generally has proven itself to be a very reliable gearbox, which will never give you any issues if you maintain it correctly. And the maintenance is also pretty much easy. Anybody can own a vehicle with a ZF gearbox. Doesn't require, a lot of effort in maintaining it. And it's actually good to note that the Cayenne for this specific engine option is actually meant for daily driving. It's been optimized for daily driving because there are Cayennes that are like the GTS that are optimized for performance, and they tend to have bigger, more expensive components. The maintenance will actually be more expensive. But the 3.0 liter diesel is actually meant for the typical family guy who just needs a car from point A to B. So don't expect much in terms of maintenance, and also don't expect a lot in terms of power. I'm not saying that the car is slow, it's actually quite fast. But compared to other thoroughbred, let me just call them thoroughbred, Porsches like the Panamera, the GTS, the 911s, the Porsche Cayenne is very slow, the diesel is very slow. But if you're comparing it to something like an Audi Q5 or maybe a BMW X5 or an X3, stacks up pretty well and will give them a run for their money. It's actually more, I think it's faster than a Land Rover Discovery 4. I guess I'm going to stop my video here, but if you want to come and experience this car, visit our showroom at Diamond Plaza. Hopefully, I just hope it will be around by the time you're making the decision to come. But hata hii kienda, we can always import you another unit. And thanks a lot for watching my video.